Welcome everyone to Alchemy Within from Out Amongst the Stars. And Gail and I are back here to look at our new moon in Aquarius. So I have Gail Ward here from Relax and Shine, and Gail's going to read us some oracle cards as we work through the 12th house, 12 houses of this Aquarius new moon. And so welcome, Gail. Thanks for coming, hanging out with me today.
Hi, Diana. Thank you for having me back. And yeah, I'm looking forward to what this new moon and lots of Aquarius energy have in store. And today I've brought the Healing Waters deck from Rebecca Campbell, so we can explore the healing benefits of the water as we move through. And so I'll hand it back to you, and thank you for what you're doing. Take care.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, the Aquarius water bearer, even though it is our air sign, in from the more of the higher mind air sign too. It'll be nice to see what the cards have to tell us, as well as working through what's going to happen for each and every one of you in the various 12 houses. So that'll be at the end. We're going to go through the chart a little bit here and the general energies, and then also this new moon is initiating the Asian wood snake new year, so we'll talk a little bit about that. So as we see here in the chart, we have our new moon in Aquarius at 9 degrees, so that's when the sun and the moon are together, and it's happening in Mountain Standard Time at 5:35 a.m. on Wednesday, January 29th. And so in the UK, that will be 12:35 p.m. And with this new moon in Aquarius, we, of course, had Pluto there, who's moving along at 1 degree 56 minutes. So Pluto is now fully in Aquarius until 2043 into 44, when it'll, kind of do a back and forth here into Pisces. So we are full on into the Pluto and Aquarius energy. As we know, we have been working our way, through Capricorn since 2008, and that's why we're seeing a lot of things shift and change in our, in our structure and corporate and big business and institutes and, things on a major societal level. And now we're going to go into more of this Aquarius energy. And well, at the same time we have this new moon, we also have Pluto at the 1 degree and conjunct Mercury. So that's a lot of, deep, profound information that may be coming through. It's very close in proximity, and even closer with an aspect to Jupiter, as the sun will hit Jupiter the following day directly. But yeah, we have this Jupiter trine. So trines, of course, are very easy flowing energy, so it's not a challenging one. So that could bring, of course, expansion and growth, and different things like good luck. And Jupiter is in retrograde though in Gemini, and will be actually moving direct, and that will be shortly into February, around February 4th. And we also this week have Uranus moving direct. So Uranus has been retrograde, and it will be moving direct as well, which isn't connected so much to the new moon, but of course, it is considered to be the modern ruler of Aquarius. The traditional ruler most astrologers bring into play is Saturn. And Saturn, of course, we have here in Pisces. So I just want to add this extra little bit of information just so that everybody has the knowledge that we also are in a Mars retrograde, and that came about on December 6th. So Mars retrogrades last, a couple of months, but the shadow period keeps us in this energy of Mars in Cancer that had moved into Leo. So it moved into Leo on December 12th. And January 3rd, it actually opposed Pluto. And so that was quite a tumultuous energy that was in the sky. And then so January 6th, it went back in its retrograde motion into Cancer, and it's going to go back into Cancer all the way to 17 degrees. And it stations on February 23rd. So this is a long duration. Of course, Mars being our action-oriented, drive, will, ambition, energy, the outward energy, the yang energy, it's having a hard time moving forward. So if we're feeling like this new year is slogging away, that could be very well why. And of course, in Cancer, that is not the ideal energy for that at all. So yeah, that's the Cancer. Mars in Leo isn't too bad because of course it's a fire sign, but the Cancer Mars is more of a detriment. So yeah, so we will get back focused on our new moon in Aquarius. And let's start with the Aquarius. Typically the energy is here and amongst us, of course, around January 20th to February 18th is when the sun usually ingresses. We haven't always had the Pluto, the Mercury, and the sun and the moon together all there. Last year we had a pretty stacked house in Aquarius. I'm not sure if anyone felt that, but Aquarius energy is, it's known as the water bearer, even though it is an air sign. And it's very, I guess, nonconformist. It wants to be outside the box. It can come across as very unconventional and doing things that are more progressive, more future. It's the one that is the higher mind. It brings in, a whole individuality and being really unique, and sometimes really eccentric, and innovative and scientific. It wants independence and freedom, and also at the same time, while it's still unconventional, it wants to do things often, the Aquarius, for the collective, for the community. It's the humanitarian, the one that wants to do things, to make your community better. So for the group, essentially, it's more group oriented in at the same time using its own unique ability to express itself. And so it's a fixed sign as well. So sometimes, we have that Saturn ruled Aquarian that can be, very dogmatic and fixed in their beliefs too, as well as, Saturn, of course, rules the Capricorn, but it's a little bit different in the Aquarius energy. It's just that the Aquarians can get a lot of higher knowledge. It's the higher wisdom because it's also, modernly associated with Uranus, which can be the sudden downloads and insights and that kind of thing. So it can bring in that, real kind of information from our future and how we're going to move forward. And that's where we're seeing so much technology and everything's moving, at such a really rapid speed, and a lot of changes are in the ethers coming about in that technological realm, I guess you would say. So we have, of course, a few things that also around this happening on the same day. We have the mean nodes shifting too. So we have this is the mean node, shifting into the Virgo and Pisces house too. So there's quite a lot of changing energies, even though we might not feel like totally moving forward in all the ways that we want, until after that Mars enters back into forward motion, and especially once it gets back into the fire sign of Leo. Another thing that we want to keep in mind is that we're just going to see a lot of, I think, rapid changes with this. And as we see, the planet kind of move, I mean, we're just getting started in the Aquarius energy with this Pluto at Aquarius. And this new moon is going to set some new intentions. So it's definitely important to do that. Look at your, time that is coming through. And if you can, right in the heart of it, set your 10 intentions for how you want this new futuristic energy to come through for you. And, if you kind of miss the window too, you can wait until we start to see some of the light come through from the moon, within a few days after we come out of the darkness, because it's not necessarily when you're going to take this action, because we are in the dark moon. And it definitely wants us to have that vision, though. Like it is the visionary, and looking at where our goals are for this particular lunar phase, and looking forward in the big lunar phase. It may come into culmination like in 2027. So it can be, you can just look at this new moon to the next, culminating point of the full moon. That's 6 months down the road, but you can also look at the bigger picture too with that. It just invites in a whole new shift in how we want to see our life as an individual go forward in the future. And we've had a lot of things that are changing rapidly and that are all kind of tumultuous right now. But I think it's really important to focus on everything that we want, even though there's all this chaos in the world, but how you can be a part of collectively making a difference on the planet, in your community, whatever work that you're doing, and how you want your life to go uniquely, that's more authentic to you, and understanding that we are in a completely new energy now, and that it's really important to look at this Aquarius house and where Pluto's going through for the next 20 years, and see what area of your chart. In this particular chart, we have it set up as and it's just the way it landed as a Sag first house, which Gail, you'll relate to that, being that the Aquarius energy is in the third house, of communication and media and back and forth travel and short distance travel. And it's the fishbowl that we swim in, our general environment, as Alan Boss would say, and all like our immediate kind of community, our siblings, or local neighborhoods, our aunts and uncles. It's got a lot of different meanings to it. It's the also the early childhood development, and the social media house as well. So I know that our plan is to collaborate more on social media, and we can talk about that. And so that maybe this is that initiation of that too, right? And to help people in the collective together by collaborating on in social media. So that's just an example of how that can be working, say, with the Sag rising. We'll go through the other houses, all the houses, including that in more detail. I just wanted to also mention that we have the initiation of the Asian New Year, and this particular year is the year of the wood snake. So we just want to we can have a quick look at exactly what the wood snake wants to share with us as we move forward. And I've heard it actually talked about as kind of connected to more of like the element of earth, like a Taurus energy, being that it is the wood snake, and it's active from January 29, 2025 until February 16th, 2026. We are in this energy, and it's a sixth animal in the Chinese zodiac. And it's associated with wisdom, though, and intuition and mystery, and it can bring in that ability to kind of stay calm under pressure because it has that groundedness to it. And there also, though, is the subtleness to it as well. From my research into this, it's insightful and resourceful and strategic, and at the same time, though, can be secretive. And so, being cautious with anything that's being hidden from you, and analyze the situation that you're encountering before jumping in. So it's linked to mystery and intelligence, and has this deep kind of contemplation and quiet strength to it, and kind of feels like, when I say that, like the Buddha energy, right? And that was that's kind of connected also to the Taurus. It can be very generous and cooperative, but be careful not to overextend yourself. It is all about growth and renewal as well. So that's kind of goes hand in hand with that, Pluto energy, and also also transformative. So like, let's look at our old habits and our old stories and the way that we were thinking, and knowing that doesn't work in the new world that we're in. Like, we all have to change our way of thinking, and more kind of steady progress towards shifting towards exactly how we're going to move forward, and have some sort of strategic development in that incremental sort of way. It could bring in diplomacy and relationships as well, and brings in some introspection. So there is, just be careful to kind of balance that action with the rest that you need, and watching out for the secrecy and like kind of the underlying, competing energies that might be eluded from you. And so yeah, we'll see some kind of different innovations, different shifts, and also the power dynamics, because that's that Pluto influence with Mercury can bring in information that was underground that we're now kind of finding out about, and things that were need to come to the surface, though. Like, all this that's coming about needs to come to the surface. It's not going to work anymore in the old kind of way that we were doing things. So it's important that we're having this kind of tumultuous time. It is part of that Pluto transformation. It's the deconstruction for the reconstruction, death, rebirth, however you want to describe it. We're needing that information to come through and allow us to bring in whatever it is that needs to be revealed, and make things more innovative, more, it might feel a little bit rebellious in some ways, but at the same time, we need this new kind of progressive, unconventional way of thinking. And we have to get used to using the technology, and knowing that it's just part of our evolution here in humanity, and also being cautious at the same time of what it is that you're getting into. But it can be very very helpful for all of us, right, as we innovate our whole way, look at like all the breakthroughs in science and all the breakthroughs in medicine that can happen with this. So yeah, do you have any questions or any comments with that going before we get started in the houses, Gail?
I'm just listening with deep interest. There's such a lot in that, isn't there? And that rebellious nature, and even talking about the wood snake, I feel like it just reminded me of my own nature, and that very scorpionic, that snake energy is all about mystery, and it's about being in the underground and this kind of sense of like, yeah, just understanding things on a deeper level. So yeah, I'm just like hypnotized, I think, by all that information. So much, um, to come together, isn't there, at this time? And it's interesting, like just being mindful and just taking each day. I feel like that's where I've been at, is just taking each day and not overthinking too many things, just like processing what's going on, because there's so much energy around, isn't there? So
There is, yeah,
yeah,
that's
I'm just like, thank you for those insights. It's like, oh, such a lot to realize that. I feel like pausing, I feel like I'm in this pause at the moment until, as we go through this next month. I feel like it's the first year where I've been really like much more present, I could say, to the season. So it's interesting having all this outward Pluto and Aquarius energy. Is like, oh my gosh, there's so much more to it. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Where are we
yeah,
going next, Rihanna? Tell me where we're going next. There's so
yeah.
much to know.
Oh, there is. I mean, with all this, yeah, AI and like just innovation. And I want to reiterate how important it is, especially because it's not going to slow down, and it's just going to be, a lot of real, new things that people have to, and so we have to be adaptable to the new way. I mean, but also it's important though to stay grounded. It's important if you're overwhelmed to take those time out to work with the breath, to meditate. If you're too fired up, to walk, to do exercise, to stay in your local kind of, area of connection too, and not feel like it's just way too much that you just want to hide. That's not the energy either, right? Like right now we can take this little time out before we really get ramped up into the year to just use it to our advantage, to envision how we want our life to go forward and in a new way. Because I have seen so many people, it's like, what, that's been around forever, that's ending? Oh, okay. Oh, I guess it's time. It's and starting anew, and just staying more in your authentic self though is really key. So if you've been, going through life and suppressing and and pushing down all these parts of you, which is, part of the other work that I do, and we work with the energies and the emotions of stuffing everything down of like who you actually really were, or you weren't even sure who that was, and all of a sudden, things are coming to you. It's important that you actually work through what it is that you really want, and that can bring, some major changes. Pluto will do that, some major changes in one's life. But at the same time, it's the time you might, have been working through some old karmic patterns or some old stories that just no longer are serving you. So it's allowing yourself to get aligned with that vision of what you really want your future to look like, and it just feel real. Like it feel real, like there's no more of this just striving for the sake of striving. Like we just really need to take time out for ourselves too, and look out for ourselves, how we need to, in our own self-care, which, there's many ways of doing that. And even if it's just, sitting by a fire with friends, or going for a walk, or talking it out, depends on your having a nice long salt bath, getting out in nature, really connecting with our earth, is also important. So I want to make sure everyone knows that it's okay to do all that part of it too, while all this new shift and change is coming in, because it can feel like a lot, very overwhelming. Yeah. So we'll jump into the 12 signs, if you're ready to go. So we'll just start with our Aries rising. You can look at this for Aries sun too, but I basically set it up so I'm talking about the sign based on putting that Aries, if I put Aries here, that puts this Aquarius new moon in the 11th house. So if we shifted the wheel, it would be in the 11th house. And the 11th house is about our friendships and our networks and our community. It's hopes, wishes, and dreams. It's a really nice house to set goals and set those new intentions for, some sort of new group endeavor. There might be some new social networks and allies that you are connecting with in order to collaborate with in this Aquarius energy to do what you want to do, and making sure you surround yourself with, people who are aligned with your same mindset and same path. There could be, you're possibly changing who you socially connect with. Maybe you're letting someone go, or a group go, that no longer aligns with who you are, because we're going to want, those people who are deeply connected to who we are. And if there's a transformation in you, there may be a transformation in your groups of people and those friendships. And if it's ready to be let go of, that's okay. It's okay to let that go. And we just might also be wanting to take on something bigger. That is part of the new Aquarius energy, that aligns more with how you want your future to go, and getting into a group or a social connection that is going to have something to do with potentially new innovative things, or new people, or new organizations, or any kind of things that are going to evolve us and our networks. So what do you have, Gail, for our...
So these are for my and your Aries friends. Let's have a look. So I think I chose this actually probably being in tune with the, over identifying with the what's it called, the Cancer, the Mars in Cancer. I realized that, I've been hyper focused on that, and so maybe going for the water sign. And yeah, the healing water, this is the healing water deck, and the rainbow has come out for Aries, and it's a beautiful card. I don't know how good the light is here, but if my Aries friends and your Aries friend would like a deeper understanding of this meaning, I've got sweet relief, new beginnings, a new way forward. And of course, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, isn't it? So that's kind of apt for Aries. Here in the UK, we've been having a lot of storms. I haven't seen many rainbows. So yeah, the rainbow. This feels like that sense of spring and that new beginnings, and like you said, setting your 10 intentions for new moon. I think that's a really great idea. Maybe we should meet up in person and and come into the Zoom room and read our intentions out and have them, be in community that way. So just an idea. Hope that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Thank
know
you.
we've been dabbling with that idea, and I would love that. I think we will have to pick
Yeah.
a day, and we'll get a Zoom room going, and we can work with people with their own specific charts, rather than, because it's just nice to look at your own aspects and what you're going through. And that's, part of the work I'm doing with helping people through life transitions, and all these emotions that are coming up with it, because that's also part of the work and studies that I've done. And, through
Yeah.
the transits and all this transformation of Pluto, and how it's directly affecting each and every, one of you specifically, and how that aligns with your chart. And then, of course, with all your intuitive gifts and the oracle and shamanic experience, I think together we could really be helpful for people that are really having a time and are wondering what the heck is going on here in this time.
Yeah, and I feel really aligned with your work, and my deeper dive into the flower essences is like all about like balancing our emotions. So it feels like there is so much more expansion during
Yeah,
this Pluto period. Like I'm excited because it's like where we're going in really to me, this is like a bit like Star Trek, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
expanding to the new realms. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And
I'll
those
let you. I'll
flower
pass back to
essences,
you.
I had a local friend and worked with them a long time ago when I was going through my, dark night of the soul, as you would put it. Amazing, they carry the energy of that essence. And, so that can also be something that you can help, especially local people that you can blend for them, or
Yes.
suggestion if you can't ship to them or whatever, to really good to help you work through some of these energies. And I even have some notes from my teacher. They used to do that lots, is suggest different, essences to help work through a lot of these.
Yes, or it'd be
Yeah.
really helpful to, to co-create, because it doesn't make sense to be posting them out. But if there's people in your area, or it's, yeah, to me it's about collaboration and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
working together, and yeah, it sounds exciting.
All part of it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll talk a little bit more about that, and then we'll announce in our socials. I'm out amongst the stars astrology, and we'll put it out on YouTube community and my Facebook group. I have the group link under my link tree, as well as my Instagram and everything, and then your links will
Yeah.
be below as well. So, and yeah, so I just wanted to reiterate too, that we were talking about the Mars and Cancer, and I want to
Mhm.
get my wording right, because Mars and Cancer is actually in its fall. So Mars is in when it's in Capricorn, it's considered to be um, it's considered to be at it's exalted, so it's at its best. And when
Yeah.
it's at home, it's in Aries. So
Right.
detriment is opposite of that when it's in Libra, and then when it's at its best, it's in Capricorn, and at fall, it's in Cancer, meaning it just doesn't function there, because it's the opposite of that
Mhm.
forward taking action. And I have
Yeah.
this natally, so if anyone wants to talk about that, I can help you uh, with that too, and how it shows up.
Perfect. Yeah.
So we'll move on now to, as we digress, we'll move on now to Taurus rising. So for the Taurus rising people, this new moon in Aquarius and the Pluto Mercury conjunction is in your 10th house. Your 10th house. So this is the 10th house here. And if we shift the wheel, that's where it would be. That is about our career, reputation, long-term ambitions, and is great for our where it is that we're leaving our legacy and our status kind of out in the world. And so there could be something really transforming here, like either within you and how you really are aligned with your career, or how you're not anymore. Or there could be something that you're working on, that where how you want to leave a legacy, and you're really transforming your life to um, bring in this legacy that you want to be out in the world, and how you're seen and what you're known for. And like where your ambition is towards getting that, and feeling like, is this something I have to do? Like if I'm on my dying bed, whether that be in the near future or many 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 decades down the road, it's sort of like, are you being called to do something that needs to now be brought to the forefront? And what are you doing to shift and change this? Or is there something happening with your bosses or authority figures that actually either changes your aspirations in your career, or brings in a new position for you? That career and work world, or public reputation, or how you're known out in your community, and what legacy you're leaving, is definitely getting a new start here in some form or a way. Or potentially, with it being Aquarius and Mercury and Pluto being there, is it getting a revamp just in general of how you do business and how you are operating at work? with all this technology and AI and all these Aquarian, new systems and higher intelligence and or something getting changed because there's robots coming in to do work that you're doing, um, or are you going to use them to benefit? So there's just some new start coming with that whole career, public reputation, in your professional or legacy status house. So, Gail, what do you have for us for Taurus rising?
Taurus rising. So this card has come out, which is Selkie. It's not easy to see the pictures. And the description says, come out of hiding, embrace who you really are. And it looks to me like it's a seal. Well, it looks like a sea line. I don't know how easy you can see that. So
Yes.
yeah, Taurus rising, come out of hiding. I don't know if that's apt for anyone, like if they're retraining or, like you say, stepping into their own authenticity. So that kind of sense
Yeah.
of fresh
We have,
beginning.
well,
Mm.
we have to also remember too, in trine with Jupiter, we have a lot of expansion and growth opportunity there too. And so, yeah, bringing yourself out and up from the previous role or previous way that you were doing your work out in the world,
Mm.
and being more authentic, come out of hiding of where's your real authentic parts of you that do want to be expressed and not keep them buried anymore, as far as keeping yourself um, hidden or the dimmer switch on. You want to light up your most unique authentic parts that are meant for the world to see, and also to be help you move forward in your career and help the collective in general. I mean, it could be even
Yeah.
something completely different than what you do for work. So
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I like that card for that for sure.
Mm. Me
So
too.
Gemini rising will have this in their ninth house. That is the house of higher education, of spiritual pursuits, religion, philosophy, travel, foreign culture, expanding our horizons. And the Pluto Mercury there is sort of like, are you connecting now with a new teacher, professor, some institute, or even somebody you would consider a mentor, and someone who is teaching you into about a whole different philosophy in life, or you're taking on a whole new perspective of what your beliefs were. And of course, Adam talks about this, and I'd like to study a little bit more with it being the Dharma house. So that's connected to learning about the truth of the universe, and our deepening of our understanding and connection to our inner self. And so what is it that you're meant to bring to the world, and focusing on what your values are, and those different philosophies and different religious or spiritual or higher education pursuits will help you do this. And yeah, you could just, with all this changing energy, just get a whole new belief system, Geminis, and that could change the trajectory of what you're doing in your life. And with all this new information, it'll be kind of a nice journey. And you have Jupiter in there as well, which Jupiter is about that expansion and growth, and broadening her horizons as well. So it kind of goes hand in hand with with that kind of change of your belief system. So Gail, what do you have for us for
Yeah, this is very interesting. I have, for Gemini rising, I have thank you. It's very interesting. The message is gratitude, appreciating what's sustaining you. And she's like rising out of the water here. So I'm not quite sure how that will, actually, well, it's philosophy, our philosophy and our values, like you say. So yeah, it's being grateful. I guess that's part of the philosophy, isn't it? It's like being, grateful for our blessings. I'll hand that one to you.
Absolutely. I feel like that belief in itself and that teaching, nobody taught us that in school of what you're of
Yeah.
expressing gratitude. And
Mm,
and recently in my community, we've had a lot of endings, a lot of people leaving the planet,
yes.
and some have been
Yeah.
young. It's been quite profound, really, one every
Mm,
week. Lots are older people too, but there was one particular mom and her daughter in a vehicle accident, and her thing was expressing gratitude and coffee
oh,
every morning. And so it kind of caught on with that's, all her dear friends
oh,
were carrying on her legacy of expressing that gratitude. What people don't realize is the energy that gratitude carries. And even in the depths and darks of despair and difficult time, we want to hang on to what it is in this very moment can we be grateful for, because that is the attracting energy that we can bring, more um, to us with
mm,
feeling that, even if it's just for a warm bed or a warm cup of coffee and a chat with a friend or whatever it is that you can, find in a day, even in difficult times, to be grateful for so that you can expand on that.
mm.
Yeah. So I
Beautiful.
like that.
Yeah. Thank you. Mm,
Yeah, it's a whole belief system that needs to shift for all of us, um, really, that knowing how powerful some of these things can be in that, um, energy. So Cancer rising, and you can look at this for Cancer Sun Moon or wherever Cancer is in your chart, but Cancer risings will have this new moon in the eighth house. And so that eighth house, of course, is our house of contractual agreements and shared resources and, like taxes, mortgages. It's also known as the psychological house and death and rebirth, and um, that place of emotional healing, as well as, where we are sort of connected to a partner, connected to an institute through our money and finances, and what we're going to, um, deal with when it comes to kind of, family karmas or debts that we need to pay off. It's also a place where fears and anxieties can come up, and we can go through some, periods of a death and rebirth and letting go of things. And also it can be a house of intimacy, and it also can be the house of occult sciences or things like astrology. So if you are looking at, actually shifting into doing different kind of, you know things in your life, either on a spiritual level or even in, with your money or with your finances or with your intimacy, or on a psychological level, this new moon could be a new start for that, and potentially, changes with your financial situation or investments, and whether it is you want to work with um, an astrologer, or you want to work with a financial advisor, or a marital coach because you have things going on in your relationships with that. So um, Pluto's transforming some things there too, but we have some nice energy flowing to Jupiter. So what
mm.
do you have that came up in the cards?
So this is Cancer and Cancer rising. I've
Yeah.
got making waves. So
Oh.
that's a beautiful message, actually.
Mhm.
And the message is momentum is building. It's your time, achievement. So that's really apt, isn't it? With the,
Yeah. So is
you
there going to be some sort of, yeah, financial shift with shifting things up or making waves so that it's beneficial for you with that nice expansion and growth with Jupiter?
know,
Something to do with, that information that's coming to light, and a transformation of things in your financial or karmic house, or, a new
yeah.
career side gig, even in a, some sort of occult science area. Very good. All right, our Leo rising, and they are going to have our new moon in Aquarius here in their 7th house of partnerships, relationships, collaborations, one-on-one. And so where is it that with this Pluto and Mercury, are we going to have some, communication that might bring some transformation in those relationships or contractual agreements? Maybe there's some sort of thing you and your romantic partner have been working through to get to a better place to deepen your relationship and bring in more, connection and intimacy and better communication. And, we have that nice flow to Jupiter as well in the communication house of Mercury. And so, that can allow you to look at things and maybe have some sort of new, profound sort of things that come to light here in your communication with your one-on-one partnerships, or a new a new contractual agreement of some kind. Or who knows, maybe you're even like doing your research because you're looking at where it is, or how, like if you're going to get married, or that kind of thing, or how you're going to move forward together in this new Aquarius energy. So Gail, what do you have?
Wow. So it's Leo, isn't it? Leo rising.
Yeah, Leo rising.
I've got gentle force, which looks like she's holding like a container of like frozen water. It looks like or some sort of beautiful, like iconic, symbol. And gentle force is consistency, persistence, patience, the long game. So working together in union, I guess.
Yeah, the long game too.
Yeah.
And maybe that gentle force is each sort of communicating, what it is that you want in that one-on-one partnership. So that you each have your own needs individually as with that Aquarius energy, that you bring it together in a nice interdependent relationship. And so that is all good for Leo rising. It'll be all about your relationships and how you're going to shift and transform there. So Virgo rising, 6th house is the 6th house here. That is our day-to-day routines, our health, our work environments. It can be the house related to pets, as well as employers and employees, and just kind of where we are of servitude. And of course, often the Virgo is actually connected to that house too, so that's interesting. And this will maybe have to do with your day-to-day work and what you really want to do, and where you're going to put in that hard work in order to get to that other side. There may be some things in your health and fitness routine that you want to transform and allow yourself to put in all the different aspects to shift what it is that you are doing on a day-to-day basis, where you put in all your efforts in order to get what you want on the other side of it. And maybe there's something innovative that you can bring in to allow yourself to maybe not make it so hard. Or if you have some sort of sickness, maybe there's some sort of new innovative technology that's coming through that or new type of not like I'm a doctor or anything, but new ways of addressing any kind of ailments that you're dealing with, and allow yourself to where you want to be of service in a more kind of profound way going into the future here. So what do we have for our Virgo risings?
Yeah, this is so interesting. This is a lady rising out of the lake, and she's called the Lady of the Lake. It's not a particularly easy picture as well. And the message is new beginnings. Something is about to happen. And it's interesting because I've just gone to the guidebook, realizing that there is also activations with these messages, and today, I haven't been guided to get the activations for the other cards, but
Mhm.
it's interesting that the Healing Waters activation for that card is I am ready to step into my destiny today. So it's like you said about the day-to-day activities is the sixth house, isn't it? So
Yeah.
the question might be, what are you ready to step into, destiny wise today?
Yeah, and exactly. And where do you want to put that work on a day-to-day basis that are going to fulfill you going forward in the future? I mean, we just are all maybe being called in a little different direction. We want our day-to-day activities to energize us in some ways. I
Yes.
mean, we all get
Yeah.
tired, but if you're feeling like you need to sort of dig down into that Pluto or get the information that you need to go forward in a new way, because of something that you can either help your what you're doing for work or what you're doing with your health in order to be better, with your day-to-day activities, and whether that's you're at home caregiving for little children or elders, or you're out in the world doing that work, or you're doing work for your own business, or whatever. What is it
Mhm.
that you can transform and change in the information that you can get and resources you can access to bring
Yes.
yeah, make that better.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant.
So our Libra rising, Libra sun, and where you have Libra in your chart, but for Libra risings, it will be in the fifth house. So that's always the good time house. It's the one that uh, shares all our uh, creativity and romance and our hobbies and the fun and the play. And it's, yeah, really where, um, we can feel that need to connect with another, even if it's just for a kind of a new love, new romantic fling, and have fun. And also to do with our children, also to do with, birthing a new creative project and our self-expression and our pleasures and all those enjoyable things that we find in life. So, where is it that Pluto is bringing in some information where we can change and shift so that we get to enjoy that, you know, new way of life and going forward, and how we want our life to show up, and um or how, we want to I guess work with you know being a doing fun things with our children, say, or doing something creative in a new, totally different way that's going to allow it to feel, um, yeah, more exciting and more joyful. And, and if you're looking for love, maybe getting out there too to experience that and communicating and using that Jupiter energy to expand and grow. Maybe just a fun kind of easy, lighthearted relationship into something that's even going to, carry on and be something more down the road. But yeah, if you have some sort of creative project that you've been thinking about and getting all the information to bring it to light, this is a really fun house to do so. Uh, get that off the ground as well. So, what do you
Right.
have for us?
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, I didn't realize creativity. I hadn't thought of it like that. So this
Oh,
message is the pearl. I'm not sure how you can see that at all. Um, the message is alchemy, the reward at the end, from grit to grace. And the activation on this one is I am ready to receive the jewel of my life. I'm ready to alchemize my hardships into healing and my grit into grace. So that sounds like a perfect like prayer to offer up for your, for all of your relationships and creativity. And there's quite a lot. Yeah, I'd love to know more about that message, but the pearl is for you guys.
Yeah, wow, that's awesome. I mean, of course, for Libras often are very, very creative, and that maybe there's just been something that's you've been slogging away at, and now it's just going to feel that things come in a new, innovative way to get this creative project off the ground, right? So I
Mm,
love that. Or something, even with your children, that you're doing something, fun and creative with them. That's just going to lighten up the things in the household or in your romantic, your romantic. It's not the marriage house, but the romantic partner house.
right.
So that sounds fun.
From grit to grace. I'm going to use that
Great.
one this week.
Yeah, no, for sure. So maybe if something's, been just feeling like, maybe this Jupiter energy is going to just
Yeah.
allow some expansion and growth all of a sudden, and maybe you'll get an Aquarian sort of download of how you can express it differently, and it'll just all come together. It'd be interesting if we have our Zoom. It'd be great to talk to some of the Libra risings to see,
Yes.
how
Yeah.
that has manifested for them.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to Scorpio rising, and for Scorpio rising, this new moon here will be in their fourth house of home, family, emotional roots. This is the place we go to retreat, and it is our basically our real estate and in our family lineage, as well as ancestral karma. And that place, it's like at the bottom of the chart, in the you know darkest place of the chart. So um, it's where we want to go and feel at home and safe, and to do with all the private sphere of our day-to-day life. And so is there some kind of thing transforming in that home and family part of your house, or even in the ancestral karma, that's going to change things? Do you have any new uh, visions, or is there some sort of a thing that is shifting in your home and family dynamic that's going to bring a new um, home family life for you? And so there could be just a lot of philosophies or changes with this Pluto and Mercury and Aquarius, as well as Jupiter, and um, bringing in some different beliefs or values or things to do with your living environment. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this manifests for the Scorpio risings. And so what do you have, Gail, for us?
Yeah, it's interesting. This one has come out, The Sacred Well. And she's
Oh,
it's beautiful. She's holding her womb and her, like sacred heart space. And the message is replenishment, self-care, giving from a place of plenty. And it's like coming home to yourself, it's really how much can how much can you receive? And yeah, the soul inquiry for this card is, how are you being called to fill up your inner well? So yeah.
yeah, that's so perfect, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
for that place where you kind of go in home, to nurture and nourish yourself in that sacred space, in that place where you go to retreat at night and away from the world, where everything, you can be your most authentic self and feel safe. So the
Mm,
sacred well definitely, it describes that perfectly. What a perfect card.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
now we'll move on to Sagittarius rising. Will have this new moon in Aquarius in their third house, because you see, actually, this chart was set up with
Yes.
Sagittarius on the first house
Yeah.
rising. So we talked a little bit about this before, but it is the place of communications, and learning and short distance travels, writing, teaching. It's the early childhood education, it's the general community that we live in the environment, our siblings or aunts, cousins, brother, sister, and that place that we also connect to, social media and those sorts of things as well. So are we coming into this new moon with this Mercury with Pluto, wanting to bring in some sort of new innovative way of communicating, or are we getting some downloads, about different ways that we're going to, express our work in the world, or whatever it is that we are communicating, and whether that be even in relationships and those kinds of relationships, and are any of the ideas or our thoughts or our beliefs or different paradigms being shifted with that Pluto and Mercury, and then also connecting to that Jupiter with expansion and growth. And are we looking at maybe studying something different or learning something different, or changing how we do things to be more technology oriented with what we're doing and how we're communicating. And it's a really good time too, that if you're feeling the need to go out and travel and adventure a little bit, do some short distance, sort of within your area, travels to get out to communicate with people and connect and collaborate in a new community. That might be another way that this will express. And so it's just looking at who you can connect with in your local environment, that you might want to talk with, that kind of brings in new innovative things for you, and transforms sort of the way that you are connecting in your local neighborhood.
Okay, so this card that's come out is the Water Carrier. It's a beautiful card, that one. And the message is, what really matters: reflect, reprioritize. And what the soul inquiry is, what are you worrying about or doing that's a waste of time, energy, and resources? What are you being called to focus on instead?
Oh, yeah. Well, and I was just looking while you're reading that learning a new skill, because it's that third house. It's that skill set house as well. Yeah.
Wow.
So there might be something more innovative in that Aquarian energy with a new skill to learn too.
Yeah.
Very
Wow.
All right. So we're going to move on to Capricorn rising, and for Cap rising, this will be in the second. Our Aquarius new moon will be in the second house, which is the house of our finances, our money, our self-worth, our material possessions, our assets and resources. It is the house, where we are looking at what we need to access as far as assets and resources in order to make money, or build on our material world or material possessions. And there's sort of this maybe a new particular phase in life, with the way that you earn income, potentially in work, and how you, like, it's sort of looking at how you spend money and how you make money, both back and forth. And is there some sort of new purchase you're going to make that's going to help things technologically, that you're going to help with your new business venture, or is there going to be some sort of a new shift or way that you're going to bring in assets and resources into your life? And so when we're looking at that, maybe there's like especially for Capricorns, they're the worker. They usually are the ones that are um, looking to build, continual building. And what is it that you need to see that maybe has been under the surface or communicate about that is going to allow you to bring in those, extra money and extra efforts, and that will help you financially. Or is it just going to be a new investment that's going to be more, better for your future, or more technologically advanced that will, are you going to go and, maybe learn some, learn some AI, or dive into, some sort of different ways of investing, or different ways of using money back and forth as well, to purchase things, or a way that you bank, even like different financial institutions, or some sort of expansion for your, with that Jupiter there, and in your, communication, so that you earn more money too. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the Capricorn risings can build upon this new Aquarian new moon and their assets and resource house. So what do you have?
Yeah, this is so interesting as well. This is Mother of the Salt Waters. It's another, I don't know how clear that is.
Mm-hmm.
And her message is passion, wild love, open your heart, let love in. And money could be love. So I definitely related to what you were saying about, the resources. And the soul inquiry is how can you let more love into your life? And yeah.
Well, that absolutely is true. I mean, money is energy, right? And it's sort of like
Yeah.
that attracting energy. And is there a new way that you're going to manifest into, your life, the money that and resources that you're looking for? So we'll
Mm.
go on to the Aquarius rising in the first house, and how we're going to move forward with that. And we'll look at, for Aquarius rising, it's to do with our personal growth and reinvention of our identity, our appearance, our body, our health. It's all about, it's all about you in that first house. And is there some sort of transformation in the way that you're looking after your house, or even in your emotions or psychology that have been buried for a long time? It is a complete transformation of you. I mean, the first house is completely, your identity and how you show up in the world. And with that Jupiter, just from my notes that I took in the Gemini house, and that's the house of children, is there something here that is going to shift and change for you that involves your children? And I kind of had to bring that in, because I can definitely relate to that. And so how is your identity in the world going to shift and change? And are we looking at just how we're showing up in the world, and diving into, sort of that place where we maybe have been going through that 12th house of what was being uncovered with Pluto and Capricorn, and now we're showing up in our new identity. So
Okay.
So, Gail, what do you have for us for our Aquarius risings?
This is so interesting as well. We've got beneath the surface, and there's lots of reflection here. What's really driving you? True motives, breaking free. And the soul inquiry is, what are you doing that you don't really want to do?
Oh,
What are you doing just because you always have? Question
wow.
mark.
That's so interesting. Yeah, that is so interesting. So, for us Aquarius rising, what are we, still hanging on to in that old, sort of way of life, in that Capricornian way, that and what we've been doing for the last, whatever, 15 plus years, that's now going to be transformed, because it, when it's in your first house, that's quite a big transformation for everyone who's an Aquarius rising. So I am an Aquarius rising, and I would love if we could collaborate on Zoom and bring in some other people, that have noticed already a shift happening in their life, and sort of see how that is unfolding for them. And if you're like, what in the world is going on, we can help you look into, some things to move forward with the shift that you're in, for sure. Anybody really, because we all have Aquarius in our chart somewhere, right? So
yes, yeah,
very, very interesting. So our 12th house people are the Pisces rising. So this new moon will be in the 12th house for your Pisces rising people, and that is a place of, rest, retreat, and spiritual exploration, of course, in our subconscious, and the patterns that we carry, and things that we need to release from the past. It can do with hospitals and jails and ashrams and the institutes, sort of, that we are go that are hidden from us, or where we are been exiled, or where we have had to go when we're not out in the world for whatever reason. And sometimes that's by choice with the spiritual retreat, and sometimes that is because we end up in a hospital, or it is to do with all those buried parts of us, the unconscious, that kind of can shift and change in us, that it'll make that Pluto in Aquarius with the Mercury can help bring those hidden parts of us that can change us socially and culturally, and in our ideologies, and sort of bring about a whole paradigm change. And with that Mercury there could be some conversation and dynamics that get brought up from the surface. And sometimes we find that these parts of us, they get reflected by our outer life, and we don't know that they're there. We don't know that we're going, in some sort of place where we actually do need to shift, and we get that through reflection from others. It gets illuminated to us in order for us to evolve and change and grow. So we often can see things through the mirror of others. And yeah, so we'll see how this transformation can come about. And pay attention, Pisces risings, to your dreams, or if you're meditators, to keep track of what's coming up as your life transform and changes. Might just, this new moon, really need to take some time out of the public space and go within and see what comes up. So Gail, what do you have for us for our Pisces rising? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute. We need your microphone. Let's see. I don't know if I can. Can you get your microphone unmuted, or? Okay, so Gail sent us the card here that I'm going to read out just as her microphone is not wanting to cooperate with us. And so for our Pisces rising, which is our last one anyway, we got the water codes. So the ancient wisdom, the intelligence is within you. And so for the healing waters activation, I'm ready to unlock the lost wisdom within the waters of the world. I'm ready to unlock the lost wisdom within the waters of myself. I'm ready to remember and to be led. And wow, that is so perfect for the Pisces rising in the 12th house, because it is connecting with that inner wisdom and connecting with that part of you that has been hidden, and going into your spirituality and just allowing yourself that time during this new moon. So I think that we definitely had some really perfect cards with all these rising signs, and we will leave it here. If you want to connect with Gail, you can at Relax and Shine, and for me, it's Out Amongst the Stars Astrology, and my link is connected to underneath, that you can find me on all the different platforms if you want to also be part of our Zoom invite. Please reach out. You'll find ways to connect with either one of us, and you can message us to be added to the an email list. Even we can email it, and we'll also try to get a date picked that will have an invite for Zoom, so we can work with you one-on-one in your chart and do this, because it's great for the mundane, but it sure is a lot more effective for everyone, and a lot more fun for us if we're helping you individually. So thank you all for being here at our new moon in Aquarius, and we will hopefully reconvene sooner. It's been a little while since our, I think, Sag season, so we'll try to be a little more regular here, as well as have our gatherings in a more intimate setting with a collaboration. So please do your own self-care to everybody, as we have lots of fast energies moving in this Aquarius season and going forward into this whole year. We have so much to look at, and so much that's happening as we see all these different energies shift into new signs. We have a lot of outer planets, and we'll talk more about that going forward, with all the outer planets shifting. And Pluto's already, of course, moved, but Saturn and Neptune will go into Aries, and Jupiter will go into Cancer, and Uranus will go into Gemini, and that's all happening in the same year. I mean, some of them, of course, will go retrograde as well back, but we are going to see a lot of change. So do look after yourselves, and thank you all for being here. Thank you so much, Gail. Sorry we lost your mic, but we will chat with you all soon. Take care, everyone.